So 3 years ago, I made a video exposing that SZA and Brandy were the exact same. When they made SZA's character, they made her from the image of Brandy, all right? Now, in that video 3 years ago, I did not make side-by-sides, so here we are now with all these side-by-sides to show you guys. So here's a side-by-side that I feel like is just so identical between these two characters. This comparison is actually the thumbnail of the old video because they just have the exact same smile. Now, it's so easy for people to be thrown off and not think that they're the same because SZA's character is overly exaggerated. Here's another side by side. It's as if SZA's character is wearing a disguise because nowadays the beauty standards are a little bit broken wristed. Like they're trying to blur the line with a lot of things, and it's just very flamboyant nowadays. That's for the males and the females, but mainly for women, the beauty standard, I don't think a lot are noticing, is really just flamboyant and just like embarrassing. And so here's another side by side. They took away the idea of just being simple and made it this complex thing. Like you need to get your lips done, you need to get your nose done, you need to get this done. And that is what they're doing with all the new characters, making them just very unrealistic. Comparisons online showing that SZA's face has changed. I do not believe in the surgery thing. I believe in them updating the character. So if you're confused by what I mean when I say that they're updating the character, I recommend you go watch my 2 Patreon videos on how celebrities are made. And that's how you'll understand how they're able to just look like they got quote unquote surgery, but have no scars of anything and like be healed pretty fast. Yeah, it's because they update them. They're Sims characters. If you go play Sims right now and say you have a Sims character and you just hate something that's on your Sims character, you can easily go into the editing room and then you just change their nose. You just slide and you can change something, and that's what happens. That's what they do to these characters, all right? So when I say that SZA is a more flamboyant version of Brandy, I really mean it. I mean, you could just see a lot of people nowadays wear all these disguises that are just like extreme, like the wig, and then you see the lace front, all right? The makeup is excessive, it's crazy. The lip liner is crazy, it's excessive. And that's what they do nowadays. And they have a lot of people out here looking like clowns. So if you can't look at this and see that there's something wrong with this, you're under the spell. I talked about this in my Ari Fletcher and Snooki video because Snooki was like a part of an entire era where they pushed a certain type of way of dressing and makeup, etc. And then like during that time, everything looked so cool. It looked so perfect. It was so, whatever. But then later we look back on old pictures of Snooki, we're like, what the, that looks crazy. So the reason I'm pointing this out, not only do you need to wake up to these characters being fake, but you also need to wake up and realize that these trends that they push are actually to humiliate you, okay? It's all on you. They make these characters, they don't care about these characters. They use them to push the trends to make you look stupid in IRL. So if you walk around looking like this, they're laughing because they done conned you to look like this, all right? And 10 years from now, they're gonna throw this entire type of image away, and then y'all gonna be looking back on your photos laughing at yourself because they got you to look like this. And I don't know why people normalize that they follow the trend and they just laugh at themselves and just, think like it's whatever, but they don't realize that they were influenced into dressing and acting the way that they were acting and looking the way that they were looking. So here's another comparison of Brandy and SZA, identical, it's just extreme. And another difference between these two characters is their eye spacing, because Brandy has a lot of Asian characters. I mean, her face is literally like the template of their Asian characters, and she even comes from Asian characters. The throw off that they did was they made SZA's eyes a bit closer, and not extremely close, but way closer than what Brandy's eyes are. These two characters have the same exact look. They remind me so much of each other. It's ridiculous. Now let's talk about some scripting, some mockery, because I really feel like a lot of people don't notice mockery. They just accept like, oh, SZA and Keke Palmer have a movie, yay, go crazy, right? But there's a lot of scripting that goes into this stuff, and 99% of this stuff, if we made a video on the character, it's damage control to content that we have. which confirms more that they are the character that we expose, right? So what is the damage control? What is the scripting within this movie, right? So the movie is called One of Them Days, right? And immediately when I seen that title, it reminded me of Monica's song, Don't Take It Personal, parentheses, Just One of Them Days. That sounds so stupid. And Monica has a song with Brandy called The Boy Is Mine, right? What is the chances of all this? You know, so immediately when I seen this, I was like, okay, this is in reference towards her other character because of the whole thing between Monica and Brandy, all right? So immediately that's damage control, but this gets crazier, right? The Boy Is Mine song with Brandy and Monica is 4 minutes and 2 seconds, all right? The movie came out January 24th. 24 and 42 are the same because they have the same value. They're just reversed of each other, okay? So I have 2 videos on Patreon about the number 42/24, all right? And that number is used to target a specific group of people, which are black people, all right? Because black people equals 42 in gematria, the list goes on and on. I recommend go watching those 2 videos because then you'll understand that they purposely make certain things to target you. And yeah, it gets into my entire simulation theory because like, why would these numbers even trigger this group of people? So this came out January 24th, 2 black characters in it, and there's like just a bunch of mess and chaoticness going on in the background. 24, Jupiter, the negative effects of Jupiter is instability. So I don't know if they got kicked out or whatever in this movie, but if they did, they're literally using this to directly target black people, all right? So another thing is a predictive programming. It's obvious that this takes place in LA, right? And if you look at the palm trees in the background, even the apartment, there's a fire. This is predictive programming towards the LA wildfires. It's just sick how there could be so much coding and all of this stuff and people not notice, you know? So people are being conned and played with all the time. Now let's get deeper into this. So that song that I just brought up by Brandy and Monica, The Boy Is Mine, right? That song was released in 1998. What is the chances that SZA was born in 1989? So the song was made 10 years after SZA's character was created. That is insane. Really think about this. The 8 and the 9 are just reversed. They're just swapped. This is all interconnected. Brandy is SZA. It's a video I have from 3 years ago. They look identical to each other. Again, I made this video in 2022, and in 2023, they did damage control by having SZA with Brandy. Now, there was a lot of people on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and they were talking about how SZA looks so much like Brandy. This was 2023. Keep in mind, I made my video in 2022. I cleaned up a lot of damage control that was out there and misinformation about who SZA was. So this was a pretty big video. And whenever I do videos where there's too much gatekeeping or there's too much damage control and cover up and they're saying they're this person and that person that don't even make sense, you know, it's a pretty big video because it's like I'm exposing something deep, and that's why they respond so much and do so much damage control. So 2022, I exposed them. 2023, they linked up, and I didn't even know that, right? And people are noticing how much they look alike, and people even notice that she's a more exaggerated version of her. She's a new age version of her with all this disguise on, you know. And so someone says SZA look like she could be a part of their family, you know, and the person in the middle is Beyonce. It's not actually Beyonce, but you could just look at her and you could see Beyonce. It looks identical. Okay, so, and then right here, someone said they always thought that SZA kind of looked like Brandy. You know, people have noticed this. They look very much alike. Now, here's some more crazy damage control. I do not know this character's name, but it was a character that was auditioning for baddies or something like that. And immediately when I had seen these photos, they were like on Instagram, probably like a year or 2 ago. And I was like, that looks identical to SZA and Brandy. It's as if they took 2 characters who are already each other and made another character. All right, that's insane. That's intense. So here's that character from Baddies. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because you guys need to understand, mainly my female audience needs to understand that everybody on that show is fake. Okay, I've already exposed Natalie Nunn, and I said in that video, she's fake. Everybody else on there is fake. Even the people that audition that don't even get on there, they're fake. Okay, because look at this. How do you explain this? They're not going to let a real person on there. And if you knew someone that got on there, that person was involved. Simple as that. All right, you had an infiltrator near you. Accept that. You were conned. So side by side of them, they look identical to each other. It's actually disgusting. Here's another angle of that character, identical. And then I compared her to SZA, identical. So I noticed that this character was wearing a bottom grill, all right? And SZA has this photo where she has the top and bottom grill. So that's a huge connection, and I feel like a mockery, you know? I always say they leave like these little clues behind to show who they are, and it's like if you're smart enough, you can peep it and you can like notice it. But if you're not, you just get conned. Like here's another clue they left behind, showing you who their other character is. They do this all the time. This is not a coincidence. So this is Brandy and she's with Elmo, right? And then this is SZA and she's with Elmo, right? Crazy connection. Like why would they be doing this? Like SZA does not have to be in a position where she's with Elmo. They purposely did this. There's other characters they've made, and most of those characters, let's just do a random character, like Cardi B. I don't know if she's been on there or not, but I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Cardi B hasn't been with Elmo, right? But why is SZA with Elmo? Oh, SZA's with Elmo because Brandy was with Elmo. Okay, do you guys understand that connection? They do this stuff on purpose. You know, wake up. All right, so let's talk about other characters. So, of course, SZA looks slightly different from Brandy, and that is not a coincidence. It's because SZA is a hybrid between Brandy and Macy Gray. They look so identical. However, they've edited SZA over the time where she now no longer looks like Macy, but when SZA first came out, I mean, she looked so much like her, the real nose, all that stuff. She looks a lot like Macy, right? Now, here's another side-by-side of them, identical to each other. And I could not pass this up. Macy is also the aunt from Snowfall. They look identical to each other. It's pretty disgusting. And here's another side-by-side of them. Photo of Macy a little bit younger. And I mean, dude, they look identical. I'm showing one of Macy's other characters because I most likely might never get to a video on this because no one pretty much even cares about this. But it's all interconnected because like SZA has percentages of her that comes from Macy, you know? Like look at this right here. This one, you know, and other characters, like SZA's made from other characters, but it's mainly like Brandy that I see, and then I see percentages of Macy in her, right? And then again, Macy has her own bunch of characters, and I couldn't ignore this. She looks identical to the aunt in Snowfall, like super identical, like especially right here. Like, I mean, if you ever seen the show, like, and you look at that character, identical. So yeah, guys, Brandy and SZA are the exact same. SZA is just a more exaggerated version of Brandy. It's as if they really want to like put a disguise on her other character. And SZA also, her like original looking self has percentages of Macy side of her. Like that's who they use to also make SZA's character. That's why she does look slightly different from Brandy, but Brandy and SZA are identical. So wake up and realize that these characters are fictitious, they're fake, they're made in a lab, they're sim characters, come on. They made them to control you, all right? So understand that, okay? That's why you shouldn't be following these trends, because 10 years from now, you're gonna look back and you're like, why was I wearing that lace front wig? It wasn't even blended in all the way. You know, they really do this stuff. This is not a joke. They really have people out here looking like clowns and they don't even see it. Like, be original, be yourself. So before I end this video, I want to show you guys why they are using this SZA character so much with the music and being with Kendrick. So SZA equals 35 and currently SZA is 35 years old, all right? So that's why they're using this character so much right now. It's good to know this stuff because they don't just randomly use characters and push them on people so much unless they are scripted to be used, all right? So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate you guys so much.